Good evening, peeps. This is Auriel Grace from A Gang of Girls Radio, and tonight we're going to be talking about mysticism. Like, what is it? And, who are mystics? So I have some ideas about mysticism from the research that I did this week, and also I have some examples of some mystics that you might be interested in. So we're going to do that. And, but first, hey Mom, hey Bonnie. But first, I have 2 appointments available on Friday for $50 Fridays. So if you want to book an appointment with me, you can email me at agangofgirlsinc@gmail.com. $50 Fridays is an intuitive reading and energy session for $50, 45 minutes for $50. So you want to book in? Email me at agangofgirlsinc@gmail.com. Also, this weekend, Angels a Psychic Story is going to be on sale, the Kindle version, for 99 cents. So it'll be on sale on Saturday and Sunday. Hey, Dana. So check that out if you have a Kindle. Okay. And right now, I am in New Orleans, Louisiana. And there's a hurricane coming. I think it's hilarious. So, hey, Courtney. So if you all could send some prayers for Hurricane Sally to turn into a rainstorm, that would be great. We're not in a place that we're in danger or anything like that, but we are pretty close to New Orleans, and we might, we're going to get some of that Hurricane Sally. So if you could pray for us, that'd be totally rockin'. All right. The other thing, too, is the reason why I am in New Orleans is because a friend of mine had neck surgery, and she has a whole new neck now. And so she can't be moving around. So I'm here helping her out. And if you could say prayers for Sandy, I would appreciate it very much. Healing energy, all that good stuff, because she loves that kind of stuff and it will help her. Okay? All right. Anything to help, right? So, you know how I believe in prayers. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So, for those of you who want an astrology consult, you can check out Rockin' Reverend Rhonda at karmiclaw.com. Now, a lot of you have been asking me about who's going to win the presidency. And honestly, I don't know. I don't know. And it's not because I haven't looked. I have looked. But there's a lot of crazy stuff, crazy energy going on. And so I'm not really sure who is. But I do know this. The civil unrest that's going on in our country is going to continue until there is some reformation, right? Things need to be fixed. They need to be rethought and redone so that everyone's civil rights are honored. Everyone. So something that you can do on your local level is call your senators, call your state people, call your county people, and call your city people, and see what you can do also to help out. Okay? So I truly believe that we can help ourselves if we're motivated enough to do it. All right? And maybe Rockin' Reverend Rhonda can assist you with that, because she's been talking about 2020 and civil unrest for a while. So she knows what she can give you really good advice for what you can do to help out your community. All right. So for those of you who want a psychic medium reading, you can check out my blog at psychictheo.com. For those of you who want a cord cutting ceremony specifically, you can check out my friend Melinda Carver on Facebook, and you can message her on Facebook too. She answers messages and she can book you in. Alrighty? All right. So please say those prayers. One, that Hurricane Sally kind of dissipates, and that Sandy has a really easy time healing. Okay? All right, because I am in New Orleans. That's some crazy stuff here, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, and plus I love New Orleans. New Orleans is awesome, but it's really haunted. Not in a haunted neighborhood. Okay, so tonight we're talking about mysticism. All right, so I spent about, I would say, 10 days actually looking up mysticism and, really looking at what it is, because I feel like shamanism, mysticism, and divination, although they are three different subjects, they do overlap. And so some people mistake mystics for different things, and mystics are different than shamanism and divination. Divination is used by mystics and shamans, all right? They have different things that they do. But one of the cool things that I read over and over again about mysticism is this. Mysticism is the essence of the mystical quest of compassion. It's compassion. It's all about compassion. And, because we talk about Kuan Yin, and in some of her lifetimes, she was a mystic. And as Kuan Yin, she also was a mystic. And her thing is compassion, right? So this is what it says in the dictionary of what mysticism is. It's a noun, and it is a person who claims to attain or believes in the possibility of attaining insight into mysteries transcending ordinary human knowledge, as by direct communication with the divine or immediate intuitive state of spiritual ecstasy. Okay, so fierce compassion from the heart. That was another quote that was really cool. The heart is a fundamental part of mysticism. So, and mysticism is, of course, about getting into that space, that heart space, and following that intuitive insight and enlightenment, right? That's really what it's about, is like opening yourself up enough or more than enough so you can hear what's coming from your heart and move from that. Hey, Iris. All right. Okay, so now I've got three very different mystics to share with you. I thought these were really cool because they're very different, but one of the cool things is, as I was reading about mystics, a lot of the male mystics, they all started out as like mathematicians. And, for those of us that are not really that, great with math, it's not what they're talking about when they say mathematician. It's usually they're talking about like physics or quantum physics or something like that. And so, but most of the men, that's how they started their mystical journey, was mathematics and astronomy or astrology. Okay. So Henrik Cornelius Agrippa von Nyschem. All right. So he was around. He was born on 9/14/1486. So his birthday is tomorrow. So this is 1486 in Cologne, Germany. Okay. He wrote 3 books. of the occult. One of them is his masterpiece, and it's called The Occult Philosophy by Agrippa, and he divides the world in three sections: the elementary, the celestial, and the intellectual. And he believes that every inferior world is governed by its superior. So he's talking about like petty tyrants, so like if you're involved with somebody who's a petty tyrant, of course they're your world. Until you decide that, you know what, you're a petty tyrant. I'm cool. I don't need you around anymore, teach me anymore. One of the things too about mysticism, especially with religion, it is, they believe that mystics have to suffer in order to reach their ecstasy. And I'll read you more about that. But I thought that was very interesting, that mankind feels they have to suffer in order to reach that spiritual place where they're ecstatic and connected to the divine. So I thought that was very interesting. And he talks about that here too. In 1486, he's talking about that. And he's talking about the elementary material world, whose main elements are earth, water, fire, and air. In his second book, he deals with the celestial world, the magic and properties of science and mathematics. So magic always goes with mathematics. They're always like in the same thing, especially with men. And how the material world is influenced by celestial astrology. In his third book, he describes the spiritual world of angels, other heavenly beings and spirits, and the way one can communicate with them and with God by using secret symbols and special talismans. Okay, so that's how Henrik thought of like that mystical state, by using these symbols and special talismans. So when I've gone to some ceremonies like with actual witches, they write symbols down when they're doing their ceremonies. So they go north, south, east, west, and they usually make a circle, and then they have symbols depending on what it is, what kind of magic they're up to. And this is what Agrippa was kind of like looking at and working with, is that alchemical type of mysticism. All right? Okay. And I have links and everything for these. I won't be able to put up anything right now. Like I won't be able to put it up on the blog. But hopefully next week I'll be able to blog this for everyone and also get everything up on YouTube. All right. For the second mystic, I've known about this saint for a while, and she's actually one of my more favorite saints because what she went through in order to become a mystic or to be known as a mystic. Okay, so her name is Teresa of Avila, and she's a saint. And she entered the convent at age 20. She was born 328-15. She died 10/4/1548 or 1582. Okay, she went into the convent at 20. She was really ill before she went into the convent, and then when she went into the convent, she got really ill, and they think it might have been dysentery. It was really bad, and she suffered tremendously. And during her illness, she had moments of deep religious ecstasy, and she had divine visions and long periods of inner peace, And I feel like the reason why that happened is because, all her guides and angels were there, like, helping her overcome this dysentery. And during this time, she managed to read several books by medieval mystics that strengthened her faith and gave her courage to overcome her illness. She admitted it was her surrender. That's another part of mysticism, is that surrender to the will of God or the Creator that made her strong enough to endure her suffering. And she suffered with joy. Okay? She transcended the physical plane. So although her body was suffering, she overcame her suffering with her connection to the Creator, and it gave her joy, and she was able to transcend the physical pain. Now, priests being priests back then, they told her that her visions and her state of ecstasy was not divine, but delusions of the devil, by the way. She performed so because they kind of cut her down, she started doing mean things to herself. Like she would kneel for 12 hours a day, or she would abstain, she would fast. She was like punishing herself because she felt like she did something wrong. But her confessor, St. Francis Borgia, reassured her of her divine nature, of her visions and experiences, and he told her that that's not really what it is, that she should have confidence in her faith and keep moving forward and not pay attention to the priests that were trying to badmouth her. And she started slowly to regain her confidence, visions. And her visions were very important because she is the person who established the Carmelite convent of St. Joseph's in 1562. Okay, she helped establish the Carmelite Brethren in 1568. And, the Carmelites are all over now, and they are very helpful. They really help a lot of people. And one of the things about the Carmelites that are really cool is that they're not harsh. They're not judgmental. I've found Carmelite nuns rockin'. Okay, so this is what she says. I no longer govern in the way I used to. So she no longer governs the Carmelites like they were governed, like she was governed when she went in to be a novice. So she says, love does everything. I am not sure if that is because no one gives me cause to reprove her, or because I have discovered that things go better in that way. The important thing is not to think much, but to love much. And so do that which best stirs you to love. Love is not great delight, but desire to please God in everything. Oh, and my friend Kona is in the room right now. And he might jump in my lap and say hi. So, God alone is enough. Let nothing upset you. Let nothing startle you. All things pass. God does not change. Patience wins all it seeks. Whoever has God lacks nothing. God alone is enough. God alone is love. And so that's how she started the Carmelites. And she kept it going. And I think that is so cool because she went from this harsh environment, from being sick, and then the priest telling her that she was not, she was not a mystic, and that all of her visions were delusions, and it helped her realize that, hey, we need to look at this in a different way. We need to look at this from this point of view, because what is a creator? Creator is love, right? So, all right. You want to say hi? You do? Okay, hold on. I think you might come around because it keeps talking to me. All right, so the third mystic I want to share with you is one of my favorites. Also, he's a male, and he was around during I think he was even around during Henry VIII's reign, but he did help his daughters. It's Dr. John Dee. All right, so he was born 7/13/1527. He died 12/16/08. He had a long life, and he was really educated very well. But he was always into mathematics, astrology, and mysticism. And you're going to meet my Konakai. Hold on just a second. Are you going to come over here? You want to say hi? No? Okay. All right. So Dr. John Dee, he was a doctor. He became a doctor at a very young age. He was a doctor of mathematics, geometry, Latin, Greek, philosophy, and astronomy. So he managed to obtain his BA in 1546 and was accepted as a founding member of Trinity College, where he became an underreader in Greek. So he used a lot of his time to develop his alchemy. And something really crazy happened to him when he was helping with a play. He decided to add some special effects, and after he added those special effects, everybody started calling him a magician. And he never kind of shook that, and he got in trouble a lot from the Pope and the Catholic Church because, he was always trying to figure out different alchemical ways, like to create gold and to create other things. He also spoke a lot about angels. He and a friend of his, Kelly, they got together and they created this hall of mirrors. And what they did was made this narrow pathway of mirrors on either side and at the end with candlelight. And then they would have people sit at the end and look into the mirrors and, let them channel whatever they were seeing. So it was one of the things that they did, they got in trouble for. The other thing, too, was Kelly was a psychic medium. And so he said that he was, talking to angels. And so they actually wrote books about angels, the angels that they connected with. And they followed through with a lot of the advice that the angels gave them. So he did travel all over Europe, learning, teaching, and seeking. He had one of the best libraries during the reign of Elizabeth I. During Queen Mary's reign, he was charged with heresy and was imprisoned at Hampton Court. I mean, it could have been a worse place. During 1558, he became Queen Elizabeth's personal astrologer and advisor on scientific matters. 1580, he turned his attention to the secrets of nature, the supernatural, the summoning of spirits, and encounters with angels. He met Edward Kelly, who was a psychic medium who used a crystal ball. They conducted spiritual experiments while traveling together across Central Europe. Okay, he was appointed warden of Christ College in Manchester. He was always seeking spiritual connection. He would check out different religions. He would read about different religions. He wanted to know, how do we connect to God? How is this? And so he studied with the Rosicrucians, or the Rosicrucians. He practiced astrology, Hermetic theories. He studied Hebrew language and the Talmud and Kabbalah, and practiced alchemy, hoping to find the elixir of eternal life. Okay, so he nurtured the idea that human nature is definitely connected to the divine, and we all are, and that the germs of the supernatural abilities lie within every individual. And he called them germs. Supernatural was germs. It's just the way that they spoke. So the germs can become a path that will lead you to real communication with the spiritual and angelic world. And since he was in communication with the spiritual and angelic world, there's lots of books on Dr. John Dee, and also his diaries. I believe they're in public domain, where you can go and you can look at them. You can't download them, but you can go through and look at them because they're historical. And I'll have to look up that website. I used to have it. And you can go through and check out all of his diaries. He had lots of them. In most of his books, he dealt with man's divine nature and the spiritual transformation of mankind through knowledge. Even in his famous preface to Euclid, mathematics was explained in such a way as to be easily applied to fields such as metaphysics, mysticism, and philosophy. No doubt Dee was a man of God, despite the fact that he did not adhere to any formal religion. And he didn't. That's kind of why he got in trouble a lot. Of his time. He sought the guidance of God, and he was keen on communicating with the unseen world of angels. Assisted by Edward Kelly, who acted as a medium and used a crystal ball, he maintained that he managed to communicate with the angels and was able to make predictions, acquire secret knowledge, and receive and reconstruct the Enochian language. So it was one of his things, is that he really wanted to do that. He was sent to the tower, actually. Yeah, I think he actually was sent to the tower. One time when Queen Mary met, and then he got out of the tower, and when she started burning people at Smithfield, he was part of like a council that tried to help people not get burnt, and that was another reason why he got in trouble again. So he was in trouble a lot. I think he got in trouble in Rome too, like he went to jail in Rome. So let's see, he received knowledge and to reconstruct the Enochian language, which is the language of God and angels, which he describes in his 5 books of mystical exercises. The language is a kind of bridge that connects the material world with the spiritual world. It is the language of Adam and Eve, which was recorded by the patriarch Enoch in his book, Speech from God, but was lost in the deluge with Noah. Okay, so, and you can check out, I have these, I have the websites for these, and what I might do is just share the websites on a Gang of Girls radio page until I can get all of this in a blog. And you can read about them, these 3 mystics, and more, because there are a lot of mystics out in the world, and they're out there talking about, your connection to the Creator, your connection to your spirit guides and angels. That's your personal connection. It's up to you to decide if you want to follow a spiritual structure or, religion. A lot of people like going to church because, sometimes when you go to church, it's freaking awesome. Like you go there, yeah, we're going to connect. It's awesome. And so the vibe is really awesome. So, and I always if going to church is your deal and you want to go to church and it raises your resonance and it helps you connect to the Creator, rock on with your bad self. Do it, But there are the mystics that do go around and they assist other people, a lot of people, with connecting to the Creator and believing that they can connect to the Creator themselves. There's no reason why you can't. He is a part of you. You are a part of him, or her, the energy, that spiritual force, right? So, looking at mysticism or mystics in that way, they're always happy. They always look happy or content, and nothing really bothers them, which is really cool. So, but that's the thing with mysticism, what I found out. I believe next week we're going to be doing shamanism. I'm going to be doing some research here in New Orleans for that. I'm going to see if I can get a write-up for it and everything. Some research done for it. And we'll get that going on next week. I have a favor to ask you. Next month is October, and this month, actually, at the end of this month, the veils between the different dimensions are going to start getting thinner. And so I'm wondering, like, what haunted place would you like to learn about? It can be any haunted place. I have some ideas. But if there is a haunted place that you want to learn about, the history of it and the haunting of it, let me know, because I'll be sharing that next month while the veils are thin, so that you can learn how to kind of like maybe do some investigating on your own. But remember, always when you do investigate, bring somebody with you. It's like hiking. Bring a buddy, okay? And a cell phone. And backup batteries. All those kind of cool things. So you're going to want to, if you want to learn about a specific haunted place, send it to me through email, the name of it, and I'll look it up. I have some good ideas for next month to share with you, because, you know, the veils are going to be thin. It's going to be really cool. And we'll talk about also like fairies. I'll pick a fairy every week, and we'll talk about how that fairy affects our world and we affect their world, and what we can do to help them. Okay? So next week is shamanism, and I believe I am going to talk about White Buffalo Woman, because she's one of my superhero gals. And so we'll get some history on her and some other shamans from other countries as well. Okay? All right. So it was fun spending time with you. I hope you have a wonderful week. And hopefully I'll see you next week on Sunday. If not, I'll let you know. Yeah, wear my sneakers so I can run. Okay. Oh, you want me to look up Julian of Norwich? Be blessed and safe. Thank you, Courtney. Yeah, I think we're pretty safe. So, but please pray for the people that will be affected by Hurricane Sally. Yeah. All right. Everyone have a great week. Remember to keep your hearts open and align with the energy of love. And I'll see you next week. Good night, peeps.